You know, for many of us, driving represents a lot of things. It represents our freedom, control, competence. But giving up the keys, handing the keys over, can be a very difficult task. And it's even more difficult, perhaps, having that conversation with the elderly, the loved one in our lives, who maybe it's time that they step away from behind the wheel. And here to talk about some information on this sensitive subject is Amy Huddleston. She's with Huddleston of Senior Care. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
This is not a conversation that you kind of think, even see coming, and then it's here, and then you're like, how do I do this? And what's the right way to do it? And how to go about it?
It's very delicate to talk about, obviously, because it creates a lot of different emotions in seniors when you bring up that sensitive topic.
Yeah, to say, no, you can't, you know, some people want to just say, I'm taking them from you, and that's it. You're not going to be out driving, which is not the way to go about it.
That is correct.
You know, you have a video that you brought along that shows how this conversation may go for some people. Take a look.
Look, you're not in trouble, and we're not angry. We just need to talk to you about your driving.
This is the second time you've come home with a big dent in the car. We're worried about you, and we don't want to see you get hurt.
That's right. It just wouldn't be responsible for us to ignore this. It's because we love you, Mom.
Yeah, it looked exactly like my parents did sitting there.
That is the look.
Exactly the look I got. Like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen.
It is, and that same with Dad. You know, before he passed, and he was just like, nope. It was a point of. It was really his. He was a man.
Pride.
Like pride for him. So how? And do children? Do we talk to our parents about this? Is that a common thing?
95% of people are not talking to their parents about driving. So
whew, I'm in the popular.
Well, it's an interesting topic because when you think about with teenagers, we have no problem talking to them about safe driving and getting on the road, but it's such a sensitive subject to talk about getting off the road because it's such a threat of independence and creates a lot of different emotion for them when they're being asked, you need to possibly hang up your keys.
Well, it was hard for me to ask my mom because my mom gave me those big, brown eyes, and I felt sorry for her because she had one small fender bender, and that was a sign for me she needs to have the keys taken away. But I hesitated because I wanted her to have still her dignity and her freedom, but I feel guilty because then she got into another accident. And at one point I had to say, Mama, you're going to kill somebody or something's going to happen to you, so I had to take it away. But I felt guilty doing it.
You did. But there's sometimes when you have to step in like that, when you know that there's danger to her or to potentially people on the road, you're going to have to make that tough decision to say, Mom, I'm going to take the keys.
Yeah, she didn't care. Yeah.
But they can be stubborn. They can be stubborn.
Yeah.
But Amy, what are some signs? Like, what should we be looking for?
Well, I think you first need to look at the main things that we need to have to be a safe driver is you need good vision. You need to be able to have good cognitive ability to understand the rules of the road and the reaction time. So physically, sometimes arthritis gets bad in their neck. They can't turn their heads anymore. Their peripheral vision isn't as strong due to macular degeneration or
the reaction to when you're using the gas and the brake.
Exactly. Right. So you have multiple, I think when you're looking at my parents and their physical condition, let's consider how's their vision, how is their cognitive ability, and physically, do you feel like they can sit in the car safely and react and do what they need
But
to do?
they have to get tested to get their license, right?
That is correct.
That was, Ken, that was your situation, right?
My great aunt, she had passed her test, but it had been a little while. She was 99. And kept driving. She was going to work. She'd been working in the same place since she was 16. So finally what my parents had to do, we said that the car needed to be tuned. We brought it into the shop, said, they're going to have to keep it. They have to order parts, start taking a taxi. We'll let you know when the car's ready. And at 99, my aunt actually forgot that she had a car. She lived for like another 4 years and still went to work in the taxi. Wow. But it was like basically deceiving them. So I don't know, what's the right way to do it? Obviously that isn't, luckily she...
Well, yeah. Amy,
what's the right way?
You're the expert. How do we have that conversation?
I think the right way, just as you were saying though, if it's an issue where they're in danger, you have to step in and make that call. If it's not though, you really have to remember, these people we're still people. You have to treat them with dignity. You want to include them in this conversation. You need to say to them, how are you feeling on the road? because you might be surprised what you hear. They may say, you know what, I'm not seeing as well at night. I think I'm going to stop driving at night. So you slow down the process. You don't have to necessarily stop it right away with you can't drive anymore, but let's figure out maybe you shouldn't drive during when the roads are really busy, or you shouldn't drive at night. You're just going to drive to the store that's
And
a
then
mile
they're part
away.
of that decision making.
They're part of it.
Right.
You have to include them and make them feel like, you know what, I am okay with making this decision. It's a much more pleasant conversation when you include them and treat them with dignity, take into consideration their feelings, because you know it's not an easy topic to discuss.
I find the males a little more difficult than the females. My dad got so angry with me that when I finally took the keys away, that he never spoke to me again.
Oh my goodness.
We spoke in the hospital, but he was so mad at me.
He was so angry.
Yeah, that
Well,
it was
I guess
terrible.
is knowing what they're going through. But what do you, for services like Home and Set Senior Care, what do you guys suggest? What do you offer? What care is there?
So what we offer is, one of the things we provide is transportation, but you know, the thing that's most important to us at Home Instead is treating our clients with dignity and enhancing the lives of the seniors we take care of, as well as their caregivers, because we know this is not an easy time in their lives.
Sure.
And we've got wonderful caregivers. You will not find better hired and trained caregivers that will come in and provide the companionship services, will provide transportation, but also dementia, advanced Alzheimer's care, ALS, like
So
you
that's
mentioned.
just it. Like, my father was not old. My father was only 70 years old. But because of the ALS and he started to advance with the disease, he,
But his brain was
his
still
brain was
there.
100%, but his hands weren't and his feet weren't. And I finally said, Dad, you got to give me the keys. And it was difficult for him.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah,
It
it was
is.
very difficult.
Sometimes it just comes down to it's the disease, and you need to say, Dad, it's not you.
It's the
It's the
disease.
And
disease.
having a trained professional there,
Yeah.
that's great.
But
Yes.
it's also,
The
I never
services
thought of
they
this, because when you
provide.
take the keys away, they still need to get to where they're
Right.
going.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you
So-
can't always do it because you're working or you've got children to take care of.
And if you hire like who knows if that taxi driver knows what to do? They're not
Exactly.
trained in
Right.
case
Yeah.
something goes wrong.
So a
the
caregiver
fact you have
stays with
that-
you, takes you to appointments, but
Yeah.
you also
That's
can
great.
work with family, you work with friends, you help them
Yeah.
still be a part of community and get them where they need to be.